Welcome to episode 550 of the Grit to Greatness Endurance podcast. We're your hosts, coaches Rich Soares and Kristin Overton, and we are on a mission to help endurance athletes train smarter, race stronger, and build the grit it takes to achieve greatness.
So here we are today, talking about your pre-race routine. So the pre-race routine can make or break your race. And most athletes leave performance on the table before the gun even goes off. In this episode, we break down how to build and refine a complete race system from long-range preparation to race morning execution. You'll learn how to create repeatable routines for nutrition, sleep, gear, transitions, and mental readiness so you show up confident, calm, and ready to perform at your best.
Awesome. Coach KO, tell us where you're at and
So
why.
I am currently up in Lake Placid awaiting heading up the cheer squad for Ironman Lake Placid. So I'm actually currently sitting in a tent in a side yard of one of my athletes' little house here. It is absolutely beautiful up here. The sun is shining, and the vibe is amazing. Getting excited.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And I know we have a lot of amazing athletes that are out there that are racing this weekend. And this is going to be our shout out to all of our athletes. There is so much racing going on this weekend with our
It's
athletes.
crazy.
It's
So
incredible.
many people. So much
I
going
love
on.
this. So we're going to break this up. I'm going to hit Saturday and you're going to take Sunday. How does that work?
That's perfect.
Salem. We are so excited to celebrate all of our athletes that are racing this weekend. We've got so many. I am just going to get us started with our athletes that are racing on Saturday. I'm going to cover, we've got Tri Boulder tomorrow. We've got two athletes doing this. Alice Kostrich is doing the sprint gig. Boy, I can't talk today. Alice Kostrich is doing the sprint distance, and Greg Castro is doing the Olympic distance. Guys, I'm going to be up there tomorrow cheering you guys on, so good luck. And then Denise Hiller, you're doing the Vermont 100K ultramarathon in Windsor. Awesome. Good luck tomorrow with that.
All right. Good luck, Saturday athletes. So we're moving on to Sunday. Big day on Sunday. So we have Chris Chothan and Kevin Cole doing Ironman 70.3 in Oregon, in Salem, on the other side of the country where I am. And then we have Lucy Zate, Lindsay Holmes, and our very own coach Lauren Brown tackling Ironman Lake Placid this weekend. Both Lauren and Lucy, it's their first Ironman, so super excited to cheer them on. I will be here I won't be able to talk after Sunday for sure. We have also Veron Thornhill doing Super Tri New Jersey State Sprint. We have Jessica Kress doing Ironman 70.3 Ohio in Sandusky. And then Kevin Bauer, Bar Camp Trail Run in Colorado Springs. So we have so many athletes, super strong. We're excited. Good luck to everybody. And then we have a special shout out, special birthday, Mike Murphy. His birthday is on the 21st. So that's in a few days. So happy birthday, Mike. I hope you have a great birthday week.
That's awesome. I just noticed on the Lake Placid, we've got Lucy, Lindsay, Lauren doing
the 3 L's.
Lake
We've been
Placid.
talking about that.
Crazy. I love this.
Yes.
Folks, this is how we love to celebrate our athletes. If you are new to Grit to Greatness, listen, you can be a part of this fun team. You don't have to even be coached to be a part of this community. If you're looking for support, inspiration, and a group of athletes who truly understand what it takes to balance work, life, and endurance sport, we'd love to meet you. Come hear directly from our athletes. Come see what makes Grit to Greatness endurance different, and find your own grit at our community. There's a link here in the show notes. Just come on in and visit us. We'd love to talk to you.
Awesome. So we're super excited. All these races coming up, and big topic today. So our Ask a Coach segment is, what is our race routine, pre-race routine? What does an effective pre-race routine actually look like? And how do you build one that removes stress, improves execution, and sets you up for the best performance? So we're gonna have some key takeaways today. Consistency in your routine, which builds confidence and reduces race day anxiety. Practicing your routine. Practice is everything. It's just as important as your training and fitness. And then knowing that small mistakes in the final days can have big performance consequences. So trying to minimize those mistakes and just making everything flow smoothly.
Absolutely. And we're going to give you 10 tips that are going to help bulletproof your race routine, pre-race routine, so that you don't have those hiccups and avoid unneeded stress. And the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to go into a little bit of a checklist frenzy here. We're going to talk about checklists starting 90 days out. Like, you need to be getting into this mindset, 90 days out, defining what should be on that checklist. This is a great time to make sure that you've got some like really important key things done. One of those is making sure all your travel arrangements are taken care of, right? All of those little details, the things that could sell out or run out of, or all of those things. This is actually a good time to start thinking about, oh man, what are those things I'm going to need to order for my race rehearsals? What's the nutrition? What's the equipment? Once you get into your race rehearsals, you don't want to be buying anything new. This is a good time to have thought that through so that when your race rehearsals start to arrive at about 6 weeks out, 5, 6 weeks out, you've got everything's already come in the mail. You've got everything all ironed out. So really take some time to put together a 90-day checklist to make sure that your race strategy, fueling plan, and key preparation milestones are addressed early.
For sure. And even that 90 days, the fueling is huge, right? That's 90 before 90 days, up to 90 days, practicing, what might work, what might not. And then once you kind of figure that out, then making sure you have everything for those race rehearsals for sure. Um, so yeah, so tip number two, kind of bringing that down to the 30-day checklist, which includes your race rehearsals. And so those race rehearsals are, specifically like wear your kit, make sure you're testing all your gear that you feel like you're going to use on race day, and then really dialing in that pacing strategy, validate what you're doing. Like you go out and you're like, you dial it in, you nail it. I feel awesome. Or, probably even better, you're like, that wasn't quite right. I can tweak it and then test it for the second race rehearsal, right? So really kind of dialing in those race rehearsals for sure.
Yeah. We're going to keep ratcheting the checklist thing down here. Now we're going to get down to 10 days out. Now listen, at 10 days out, your race rehearsals are all done. You're pretty much in taper mode. The only thing that you can do here in these last 10 days is either injure yourself from doing something silly, which you don't want to do. This is a great time to wrap yourself in bubble wrap.
For
Or
sure.
this this is, yeah, right? Or
Seriously.
you could make your taper too steep. This is not the time to like stop workouts altogether. You are still working out, but you're just doing it at shorter durations, less intensity. You're really here just kind of tuning things up and trying to keep the taper from coming down too quickly. This is a great time to be making sure you are banking sleep, that you are really staying on top of your hydration. This is where you want to keep your body really, really healthy. If you're going to take emergency, this is the time to take emergency. If you're going to be washing your hands really frequently, this is the time to be doing it. This is also the time that this like little thing called temper tantrums start to come up. So don't, you know, pay attention to how your body's feeling, but don't just assume that just because you got a little like, ache or niggle or something like that, that you actually have incurred an injury. A lot of times it's just the body making shifts and, coming around to, you know, get ready for race day.
For sure. So something I'd like to add to 10 days out, something I always like to do, it just helps kind of your mental state of mind. Like think about all your training and all the people that have helped you. Reach out, thank your family, thank your coaches, thank your neighbor, your boss, whoever, that has helped you kind of get to that point. I think that's critical. Definitely makes a difference. Makes everybody feel good. Um,
Absolutely.
all right, now we're at one day out. So, one day. just take that day. You're not thinking of anything new, you're not overthinking anything, then the last thing you wanna do is, last minute, "Oh, I'm just gonna change up my nutrition to this." Keep it simple. Just know what you've dialed in, trust what you've tested, trust your training, and, relax, get your feet up. Don't go chasing around the venue or, that kind of thing. Just rest, get your mind right, watch some movies, some guilty pleasures like that, and just, get yourself ready for race day.
We probably should have expanded this to be probably like 1 to 3 days, right? Because this is
Yeah.
where you're also doing things like you're doing your carbohydrate loading, which you're not
Yes,
going to probably
yes.
do the day before. You probably do it 2 days
2
out.
days, yeah,
Yeah, so you don't have all of that food waste. But this is in your system. But this is this is that weekend where, yeah, you really want to have your schedule like really locked down. And I like to tell athletes, start with the day before the race, right? You want to have that bike checked in and you want to get the heck out of the transition area, especially if you're doing a 70.3 or an Ironman, get the heck out of there and get on your back and get some rest and bank some time, bank some recovery before the big day. You don't want stress in your life. This is
for
like
sure.
having that schedule dialed in and like really thinking through like the really important things. Okay, well, if I need to be in bed, if I'm like, my goal is to be in bed by 8 p.m. so that I can get up at 3 a.m. for my race or whatever time you ungodly hour you're getting up at. Think about, okay, well, that means I probably need to be eating by, maybe 5 or, 6 at the absolute latest. Well, if you haven't already made those reservations, so that might be something that's falling back on your 10-day or 30-day checklist, even making reservations or making sure you've got your food, the food planned and when you're going to bed, and there's nothing that's backing you up and making you getting to bed late or stressed out so you can't sleep the night before.
Yeah, that's a good point, and it's, kind of that idea of just working backwards, right? Start from race day, work yourself backwards to plan accordingly, depending on, what you're doing. If you have to go out to eat, like you said, make that reservation. If not, you're making things, but when are you going to do it? And then push that, keep pushing that out to that 10 days or whatever beforehand. Always a good idea.
Tip number 5, practice your race day fueling multiple times. You've got these great race rehearsals, these big, these are big, long days. You're probably doing, if an Ironman, you're probably doing 6.5 hour rides, with 40 minutes off the bike runs. You want to be practicing your nutrition exactly how you're going to want to use it on race day. And that means you also need to be practicing the intensity that you're planning on racing at race day. It's one thing to go out there and fuel yourself at, a less intense effort for 6.5 hours. It's another thing to be at race effort and fueling yourself for 6.5 hours. Make sure that when you're doing those race rehearsals and you're practicing the nutrition, you're doing it at race intensity. That's hydration and fueling.
Yeah, so important. So, tip number 6, lay out and check your gear systematically. So, making sure you have everything. I have a spare bedroom. I throw everything out there on the bed and just like okay, this is what I need for the swim. This is what I need for the bike. This is what I need for the run. This is what I need in my transition. And then just, kind of visualize what you need. And it makes things so much easier. So, really just kind of getting that dialed in and knowing, oh, I just realized I don't have enough of this. I need to order such and such, or that kind of thing. And that way, it just takes away all that stress of like, oh, did do I really have everything? Well, you laid it all out. You can even take a picture of it to know that, okay, this is everything that went into my gear bag.
I love this tip. And this is actually one of those that I actually like to think about even doing for the race rehearsals. Talk about your fueling
Yes.
and your gear. When you're doing those race rehearsals, it's a good idea to know, hey, how long is it going to take me to pack up this bag the night before, right? How
Mm-hmm.
long is it going to take me to have my breakfast in the morning and get out the door? When you're doing your race rehearsals, break out that checklist. Break out the same bag, the same checklist that you're going to use the night before. Get used to, laying everything out like Coach
Mm-hmm.
KO just said, having the checklist and making sure that everything gets into the bag and that routine. Practicing that routine over time, it will, I guarantee, your checklist will change from the first time you rehearse it to the last time you rehearse it because you
For
will
sure.
identify things that need to go in there.
Absolutely.
So
What's next?
now we're going to get into tip number 7, which is rehearsing your transitions. Like this, transition, there's a lot with transitions. If you get there late, you're going to be stressed. You don't want to get there late. Get there early enough so you've got plenty of time to set up your transition. Rehearse those transitions. Now, listen, it might vary for short course, sprint distance versus long course and what you're going to do. But either way, listen, you're going to want to get through that as quickly as possible with as little stress as possible. Even if it's an Ironman race, and yeah, generally people take a little longer in the transition, it doesn't mean that you have to bake in extra unneeded time. If you are familiar with what is going to be in your gear bag and what you are going to need, you can actually rehearse that. You can just take a garbage bag and pretend like it's your transition bag or your bike gear bag or your run gear bag, and practice what that's going to be like, because you're going to be doing it on race day and the pressure is going to be even higher, right? Because all the noise is going to be going on and all the excitement of, you just got out of the water, so your heart rate's jacked. It's nice to have something that's familiar. And if you have a familiar process and you've practiced it, it'll help calm you down.
Absolutely. And kind of what you said, Rich, is, tailoring it to that race. So sprint and Olympic distance is a completely different transition than a half or Ironman race. So, you go from a sprint race to an Ironman, you're going from like having the bare minimum, like, getting in and out as quick as you can to, make an Ironman. You want to make sure you have everything dialed in. You need extra nutrition, that kind of stuff. You have a bag that you got to, kind of dump out. Put yourself in a little, like a changing tent, like you do for Ironman, where there's a chair and you kind of do your thing and then get in and out. But yeah, practicing just makes a huge difference. All right, where are we at? We have so many tips. We are at tip number 8. So building a consistent pre-race sleep and carb loading routine. So um, sleep is huge, particularly the week before the race. I tell my athletes that if you do anything this week, just get as much sleep as you can. Make that your number one priority. Yes, get your workouts in, keep your body moving, but sleep is going to be huge, particularly for those long distance races, and just dialing that in and making that kind of that priority and dialing that in for that week. Um, and then we're talking about carb loading. So, your routine when you're doing your race rehearsals, practice what you're eating the day and the night before your race rehearsals. Get up approximately the same time, eat the same breakfast you're going to eat before your race, because that's really truly going to tell you, is this working or is this not working? So that you can just dial that in, and it's just like this is what it's going to be for race week. And so I remember I ate this on Thursday, I ate this on Friday, and my race is on Saturday, and this is how it is. You don't want to wing it, and then all of a sudden, like, oh, I don't know, let me just grab this and this and this and that. You end up not getting enough carbs and getting enough what you need, or you eat something totally off the grid, and your stomach doesn't like it the next day, which is just catastrophic.
That's right. Well, and that's actually one of the great things about, having a house or an Airbnb instead of a hotel where you're dependent on restaurants and you're not exactly sure what you're going to be able to get when you're traveling. So,
Yeah, definitely.
one of the things I always love to do before a race that I make as a part of my race routine is visualizing, to mentally execute the race that I want to race before it even begins. And that really starts with, really kind of anticipating some of the areas where I really feel like I want to have focus and I really want to have some confidence, and really thinking through like 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 really getting deep into the visualization. Like, where am I? What am I seeing around me? What are the sounds and smells I might be hearing? You know, and and what are the thoughts I want to have as I am entering the water, as I am starting to swim, as I am turning that first buoy, as I anticipate getting bumped or kicked, or, you know, visualizing getting out of the water, knowing that, hey, you've been out there in the water, especially if it's an Ironman, you start to get a little, like, you get those sea legs going, right? When you get out of water,
For
start to
sure.
visualize what that's going to feel like and what you are going to do to manage it. A issue rehearsed, an issue anticipated is one that you can tackle and win. And and just visualizing will really help gain your, build your confidence and help you feel just more centered when you're actually in the middle of the race.
Great, I love that tip. It's huge, and just, visualizing the positive things and, and anticipation. It's awesome. So a little bit along the same line. So our last tip is really becoming that thinking athlete. So, not everything's gonna go right, in fact, as they say, there's always gonna be at least 3 things that go a little awry, during a race, no matter what. So, being able to adapt within your plan without completely abandoning it and going off the rails. So, having those contingency plans. Have a plan A, have a plan B, have a plan C, and knowing, like, okay, if I don't know, I lose a bottle on the bike, what am I going to do? All right, I know what's on course. I know that I can handle this, or I have extra nutrition that I can mix a bottle quickly. Just having those contingency plans, and thinking about that ahead of time before your race, so that you're mentally prepared. So when it happens, you're like, oh, I know what to do. Like,
That's
I've
right.
thought about this, and I have a plan, so I'm good. I don't have to
That
stress.
that is a gold tip, KO. That is awesome. That's probably the biggest tip of all, right? Is just being
No doubt.
adaptable. Is the
Yep,
plan, having a plan, but being adaptable within it.
for sure, for sure.
Well, folks, we're going to boil this thing down to 3 things: plan early and create structured timelines, a 90-day, a 30-day, a 10-day, and a weekend of. Practice everything: nutrition, gear, transitions, mindset, visualization, and then execute with confidence by trusting a proven out routine because you've done it multiple times. So, listen, if you want to have these tips as a takeaway, come to our website, come to the contact page. You will see a way to we've got a free download page. Download our pre-race routine checklist and start implementing your system in your next race rehearsal. If it's this weekend, if you're racing this weekend, folks, it's probably too late. But listen, next weekend or further out, this is yours. This is going to be gold for you.
Perfect. Awesome, Rich. What a great topic, and it never gets old, and it's always helpful for sure. So we're now to our fun segment. So we have race morning trivia. So before we wrap up today's episode, it's time to test your race day knowledge with a quick round of race morning trivia. Play along in your car, on your run, or wherever you're listening. See how many you can get right before Coach Rich and me reveal the answers. So no Googling. It's what comes to your mind. What do you think is happening? No
My
Googling,
hands are off
Rich.
the key. My hands are off the
All right.
keyboard. Let's go.
All right. Good. Good. I'm watching you. All right, Rich. Number one. Which of these is generally the biggest cause of pre-race stress? A, the weather forecast. B, forgetting something important. C, swimming in cold water. Or D, waking up too early.
Ooh, for me, I'm going to probably say this is going to be forgetting something really important. And I've done that. I have shown up. I showed up to Boulder 70.3 one year. I'm walking into the transition area. All of a sudden it's like, oh shit, I didn't pack any goggles. I just knew it. How did I just how did I realize it there, but not before?
Right?
Oh,
That's brutal. I have one that might top that, Rich. I did 70.3 Florida. It was right just after COVID when races were starting back up. I didn't have any extra people with me, no Sherpa, and I left my nutrition bottles in the refrigerator at the hotel, and
oh,
I couldn't go back to get them. However, I planned ahead and I had extra powdered nutrition in my race bag. Thank the heavens.
save
I
your
was able to
race.
get an extra bottle and I mixed my nutrition, but wow, heart attack city, let me tell you. Although I have to
That would
say
make your heart stop.
a close second to that is the weather forecast. I swear it's one of the biggest stresses. Everybody starts watching the weather at least 2 weeks out, and it's like a daily process. What's the weather? What's the weather? What's the weather? Obviously, you have no control over that, but it's definitely it creates a little high level of stress for sure.
I think all these probably do to one degree or another, but
Yeah, it's just a matter of what's the biggest thing, right?
yep. All right. I'll take question number 2. True or false? KO.
Hmm.
Trying a brand new energy gel on race morning is a good way to get an extra performance boost.
Oh gosh, so false.
So false.
Never try anything new on race day unless like you have no options. But not the race morning, no new gel. That could just wreck your race from the get go. Ugly.
Yep. I
All right,
agree.
number 3. About how many calories of stored glycogen can the average athlete hold? A, 300, B, about 800, C, about 2,000, or D, unlimited if you carb load.
Wow. Yeah. That might sound tempting to carb load that much, but I don't think that's possible. I'm going to go, and because I do know this answer because I'm a coach, I'm going to say 2,000 calories. And I'm also going to qualify that could vary. Your mileage could vary depending on how good you are at restoring your glycogen stores on a regular basis. If you're the kind of person who works out and then doesn't feed yourself right after, I would probably knock a good, I might give yourself 75% of that 2000.
Yeah,
Uh, you got to be really good at recharging that battery. So, this is a good thing as a routines go on a regular basis. Make sure you're refueling after every workout.
for sure.
All right,
All right, next one.
here we go. Which of these should you practice before race day? Transition setup, A, B, race nutrition, C, pre-race breakfast timing, or D, all of the above?
Well, this is easy. We just went over all this, right? So, yeah, absolutely D, all of the above. All those things you want to practice before race day so you can dial that in for sure.
100%. All right.
All
Love
right.
that. And is that it?
Oh,
That's it,
uh,
right?
no, we have question
We'll give
5.
you a bonus. We got question 5. You're
Bonus
asking
question.
this one.
Yeah.
Let's go.
All right. Which famous quote best describes a solid pre-race routine? A, hope for the best. B, failing to prepare is preparing to fail. C, just send it. D, no plan survives first contact.
Ooh, that's funny. I like that. All right. Well, I love this phrase. Failing to prepare is preparing to fail. So I am going to go with answer B.
Yeah, nice, nice. Yeah, preparation doesn't guarantee that perfect race, but it gives you the best chance to perform. That's for sure. So, when things get unpredictable, it definitely gives you that chance, that fighting chance.
All right. You want a little bonus one here, KO, before we wrap it up?
Oh, sure, we could do that.
Let me give you a bonus one. How long before your wave starts should you aim to arrive at your transition? Option A,
You give me
15
options.
minutes.
Yeah,
Let me give
you
you
got to
some
give
options.
everybody options so
Uh,
they have,
Option A, 15 minutes Option B, 30 minutes. Option C, 60 to 90 minutes. Or D, right before they close the transition.
Yeah, I think a lot of people get in there right before they close the transition. Not a good idea. General 60 to 90 minutes before the race starts so that you can, get your gear together, make sure your transition's set appropriately. You can hit the bathroom, do what you need to do, get yourself lined up where you need to be so that you're not all nerved up and rushing. So many people are in line for the bathroom, 10 minutes before the gun goes off, and that's very stressful. So be mindful.
Awesome. Love it.
All right. So we're gonna shooting it out there. How'd everybody do? Did you get 6 out of 6? If you hit 6 out of 6, you're officially race ready. If you missed a couple, that's exactly why routines matter. They remove the guesswork before the starting horn. Remember, fitness gets you to the start line. Preparation helps you cross the finish line at your best. Until next time, stay gritty.
Awesome. And Coach April, thanks for the fun segment. As always, she authors these for us every week. So thanks, Coach April.
She does an amazing job.
Yeah, so much
So
fun.
great.
I love this part of our podcast. I love every part of it. The shout outs, the birthdays,
Everything.
the tips, the fun segment. And hey, it all wouldn't be possible without our show sponsor. This episode is brought to you by Vespa Endurance Nutrition. Vespa helps you tap into clean, steady energy so that you can stay strong, focused, and in the zone longer. Less sugar, higher performance, and faster recovery. Use the code G2G Vespa15 for 15% off of anything in your cart anytime. The link here in the show notes will get you that 15% automatically applied.
All right. Thanks for that, Rich. So, just shouting out, if you want to be a part of this community, Grit to Greatness, choose your path with Grit to Greatness Endurance. We offer can't talk, personalized coaching, training plans, and a community to help you reach your goals. If you have any questions for the show, submit your Ask a Coach questions. We love to hear from you guys, and answer those questions on the pod. So feel free to contact us. Our contact's in the show notes.
That's right. Or come visit us at
Yes,
grittogreatnessendurance.com. We've got all
please.
sorts of information for you there. And with that, thanks for spending time with us today on the Grit to Greatness Endurance podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, please follow us and leave us a rating and review on Apple Podcasts and YouTube. It helps us reach more athletes just like you. Stay gritty, train smart, keep chasing greatness, and we will catch you next week.